I'm Miss Aquafina Whoppity Wop 2023. I don't need no
Yeah.
lubricant. You ain't had water since last week. I don't care what's going on. That thing hit different with the ceiling fan on. As sexuality professionals, people think that if they enjoy sex, they know that they can do our job. And that's like going into a Michelin star restaurant thinking because you eat that food, you can make that food. It's ridiculous. You lack the training. So listen to us. I'm saying you asking us questions and then you looking at us like, I don't need that. You just asked me, this is my answer.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta get a massage, I gotta get a mani-pedi, I gotta get my hair done. None of that is free. One more thing for you to do. You gotta wash your butt anyway. You gotta get in the shower at some point in the next 3 to 5 business days. You're gonna have to get in the shower.
Welcome back to Sex Ed for Saints, where we get candid about love, sex, wellness, and relationships. Just so you know, I am Tammy, a wife, a mother, best-selling author, your favorite intimacy and relationship coach, the host of this fantabulous podcast where we're going to promote sex, but still keep it God. And I got a question for you. Have you ever wished that someone had taught you more about sex from a faith-filled perspective? Or have you ever had questions that no one could answer? Or felt like if you knew then what you know now, you might have made some decisions a little different? Well, let me tell you, you are not alone. This podcast is dedicated to just that. We're going to fill in the gaps. We're going to break some silence and help you to grow in godly intimacy without shame. And so, y'all, let's get into it because class is in session.
Hello, everyone. I am super excited for today's podcast. You know, one of the things that I love to do here is to talk about all things candid, and sexuality is one of them. That is one of the premises of this entire business that I'm doing, this podcast, everything about it. And I'm so excited to have Goody Howard on the show with us. She is thebomb.com. Okay, let me tell you. So I am excited. And one of the things that we want to talk about today is, you know, embracing your sexuality and what that really means, right? You know, I cater to the church community, and there are so many limited beliefs in the church. And when I came into, you know, the ministry and, you know, getting married and having to understand sexuality a little bit differently, it was a struggle. And I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the tools that I needed to help me along my journey. And I had to basically discover these things for myself. So I wanted to help you guys out, especially if you are struggling, especially if you want to understand, you know, sexuality and sensuality and all the things. And so before we get into it, I wanted to bring on Miss Goody Howard to the show. Let's welcome Miss Goody.
Hey,
How you doing, girl?
I'm good. I'm excited to have this conversation.
That's good. You know, a lot of my community is in the Bahamas. 60% of the people who I cater to is in the Bahamas. I'm originally from the Bahamas. So when I heard that you are globally recognized, I'm like, yep, that's a part of it. We are reaching borders with sexuality. So I am excited to share the Bahamas community with you.
Well, thank you for that. You know what? I've never been to the islands. I've been a lot of places. Never been to the islands, the Caribbean islands, Caribbean. I don't know how you say that, but yeah, like that makes me happy. That's exciting that you know that your audience is so broad. Like
Yeah.
that is outstanding. Congratulations.
That's not home for me. You ain't been, so I'm gonna just put it out there. The Bahamas is gonna be like one of the first places that you go. Yeah, we gonna make that happen because there's gonna be a conference coming soon. You know, I'm gonna need Goody Howard with all that education and knowledge and all things sexuality. But before we get into it, I want you to tell everybody a little bit about, you know, who you are, what you do.
So my name is Goody Howard, MSW MPH. My pronouns are she, her, and boss, and I don't code switch and I cuss a little bit, but I will be on my best behavior. I do pleasure development, which is I sell pleasure tools. I teach skill building workshops, sexual skill building workshops, and I have sex positive t-shirts and hoodies and tote bags. And then I do professional development where I am in campuses where I am on campuses working with companies and in communities to do like DE&I work, sex ed, ask a sexologist, sex, gender, and orientation workshops and stuff like that. And then I do pleasure professional development where I do business coaching for human sexuality professionals because straight business coaches, like mainstream business coaches, won't touch us. My bachelor's is in business. I use my business degree every day. And so I help people at least get to where I am. Like as long as I can teach you what I've done. You know what I'm saying? So I do business coaching for sexuality professionals as well, just because we think, we want to change the world. We want to like help people expand their minds, but you can't do that with no money.
Yeah.
And so I help people kind of reframe that too. Like, I say you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Well, I have a colleague that says that she's not pouring from the empty cup anymore. She's only pouring from the overflow.
The overflow. Yep. I say that all
it's
the
like
time.
The overflow. I was like, the overflow, like that shift.
You ain't even getting it.
Helping professionals, as sexuality educators, as social workers, therapists, counselors, whatever we're doing, we are helping professionals, but we forget that we need money to move forward.
Yeah. And I love that because I'm new into this business when it comes to like doing this part, right? I was getting ready to go to law school, and then I changed my entire,
concept. Yeah, you changed the whole thing. I just want to be a lawyer too.
Yeah, like I changed it completely. I was like, let me focus on sexuality and sex and it's because I struggled so much with it, right? Prior to being married, I know we had a little conversation prior to this where before I was married, I was out there, I was doing my thing, I was doing whatever Tammy wanted to do. And then I came into the church community, and then I became involved, I gave my life to God and then I get married and then it's like sex is not even talked about, And I struggled with turning off that switch because I was celibate for 10 years. So, going from celibacy and then going into marriage, it was like, okay, like, come on now, like, how do I even embrace this? Like, how do I even understand this? How do I, be comfortable with my spouse in a way where, we can embrace this gift that we're supposed to have, right? Like I could not get my brain to connect and it was a struggle for me. And I think, when I was trying to decide on what I wanted to do, law school, it was just taking too much. Like it was just, right. Yeah. And so I was like, let me just focus on, I woke my husband up in the middle of the night and I was like, babe, what if I decided to like, go into the sex industry? And it's like 3:00 in the morning. Right. So he's like waking up out his sleep, like, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? But he was supportive of it, right? And that's how this started because I started selling like, sex products and I started doing like the intimacy parties. And what I was learning was that, when I'm talking to these women, especially because I was catering to like, Christian women, I was learning that women who were married for like 20 and 30 years, they were not even having orgasms. They were not embracing the sex. They didn't know body parts. So I want to get into all of that stuff because I really feel like we need to help some people tonight.
It's a thing. And it's like, we don't think there's something, specifically in faith-based communities, there's something sort of, there's an understanding that once you get married, the knowledge will just download.
Yeah.
The knowledge of your pleasure, the knowledge of how to express pleasure with your partner, all of that will just kind of, like when you do the vows and put the ring on, it's like, bam, now you know how to do it.
Swing from the chandelier.
And it's like, you just know, right? But the thing about it is, we have to be taught how to do everything. When you were little, you got taught how to wipe your butt. You got taught how to wash your body. Why do you think we automatically know how to do pleasure without any instruction, without any guidance, without any conversation? When the smallest thing, we had to be taught how to cook food.
Yeah.
It's not a natural, you understand that you have to eat, but you don't understand how, you know what I'm saying? So if we put pleasure on the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, down there with food, shelter, water, pleasure in parentheses, it still requires instruction and guidance and, this level of community in some way. That does not exist in all places, not just in faith-based communities, but I would say specifically because we're talking about faith-based communities, it doesn't exist there. You're just like, oh girl, you married now, figure it out.
Yeah, or it's very limited information. And I think a lot of it is to do with, they're not educated, right?
And sex is like in the church, sex is so vilified. Yeah. Pleasure is so vilified. Yeah. That we can't be well versed in it because it's such a demonized thing. Yeah. That it's a slippery slope between that and sin. And it's sex and sin are like the same word if you're not married. And like it's just all of those different pieces that make people shy away from it to begin with. Yeah. And then suddenly when you get married, it's supposed to be okay to talk about it. But you've been repressing this part of your personhood for so long that like, oh, suddenly I'm supposed to turn this flip that switch and be good.
Yeah.
You know, I've had clients that are married or were married, and when they only have sex like every other month, because when they did have sex, they just had so much shame and stigma to unpack around it. It took them like 4 to 6 weeks to bounce back, to get back to a position where they wanted to have sex again, even though they knew the marriage bed is undefiled. They knew that, you know, they had God's blessing under the covenant of marriage to be in this space together. They spent their whole lives fighting their nature because of how they've been socialized in the church. And that's not necessarily to say the church is the bad guy here. It is the concept of sin, the concept of decadence, the concept of what is the other one? It's the 7 deadly sins. What is the? It's lust. You know, thinking of that, we want to get as far away from that as possible. So how are people then going to be in community and helping each other? You know, it's and there's a difference between being aroused and being lustful.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like there's a difference between drinking and getting drunk. You know, and so if we draw the line in the sand and make sure that we understand that being attracted to your partner or having sex with your partner or all these things are not necessarily sin. You still got to unlearn that before you can even embrace what your body is capable of.
To be comfortable, right?
It starts up here. Like the rest of it won't even work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
where do we start? You know, like for women who are struggling with identifying that, right? Because they have that mental belief. Like, where do we even begin?
I think first and foremost, understanding that God made the clitoris, right? God made pleasure. So I think starting there is important. Because God created all things. And so if God created it, it can't be to your detriment.
Right.
Also, I think separating pleasure from sex is a big thing that a lot of us miss.
Yes.
Because we use pleasure and sex interchangeably. And pleasure does not mean sex. Pleasure means experiencing great joy and excitement. Sex ain't even in the definition. So when you go to church and they're singing that one song, they singing your song, and you just get the goosebumps, and you know you're just moved, and you're, you know, maybe there are tears, but it's just like this emotional outpouring. That is pleasure. Right. And so once we start to disconnect pleasure from sex and start to identify non-sexual pleasure and engage with it, it sort of makes sexual pleasure this accessible thing as well. It sort of makes it okay when you access pleasure and the luxury and the decadence and the deliciousness of just life. Then you can sort of pivot to understanding that sexual pleasure is also that.
Yes. Let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
Because like you hit the nail on the head when you were like it's interchangeable in the church, right? But it's completely different, sex and pleasure.
It is, especially for faith-based people. I think that they even more grasp the concept, even though we don't. Our language means things. The whole world conflates pleasure and sex, but in the faith-based church specifically, when you are in the house of God and you feel moved, when you see people, you know, giving their life to God or praying or singing, or the preacher says something and you like, you know, there is pleasure in that. Being in community, you know, with your church, all of that is non-sexual joy. That is joy. That is excitement. And so if we redefine pleasure as joy and excitement and copy and paste, right? I specifically think that the faith-based community is better equipped to connect to the concept.
I agree with that. So getting into pleasure. What are different ways where we can find pleasure? What does that look like? So to give people like a picture.
Okay. Well, I have a workshop that I teach called Sensual Intelligence.
Okay.
And in Sensual Intelligence, we separate pleasure from sex, and we define sensuality as experiencing non-sexual pleasure through all 6 of the senses. So sight, sound, taste, touch, scent, and feel. Okay. And so feel is that emotional component, because people think touch and feel are the same. They're not. So if we go out to dinner And when you go out your girls, you get extra cute. You know what I'm saying? When you go out your man, you're cute. But when you go out with your girls, you're cute because we get dressed for each other. We know that our effort will be appreciated, right? So you get dressed up, you're cute. You see your friend, we see each other like, oh my God, you're cute, you're cute. So that's sight. Sound, we're laughing, telling stories, having conversation, right? That's sight, sound, taste. The food. We out to dinner, the food, the temperature, the texture, the tone, the taste, all of it goes together, right? That's sight, sound, taste, touch. Touch is more than just touching things with your hands and other people. It's the way your clothes feel on your skin. It's the way your hair feels over your shoulders, or how like you can see your hair, like it's all of that. It's also like the touch of your food, or the weight of the silverware, or the touch of the glass on your lips, like all of that. Right? So taste, touch. I'm sorry, sight, sound, taste, touch, scent. Of course, in a restaurant, if I walk in and I don't smell food, I got a problem.
Yeah.
But like even the food is all the senses. It's plated beautifully. It smells good. It tastes, all of that. All of that is non-sexual pleasure. Right? And the feeling of just being in community with your friend, and y'all got dressed up and feeling cute. You know what I'm saying? You're out having a good time. All of that is non-sexual pleasure that brings you great joy and excitement.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you pick it apart and identify each thing, not only does it help you make pleasure accessible, but it also helps you be grounded in the moment because you're paying attention to the things around you.
Yeah.
And it gives you sort of this intentional gratitude for the little things.
Yeah.
And so it just gives you it's just a layered experience.
Yeah. And so basically, when that translates into sex, you not only have a better understanding of who you are, but you're more confident with your experience.
Very much so. So when you take sensuality into a sexual context, you're experiencing sex through all 6 of the senses as well.
Yeah.
So not only is, again, keeping you in the space, because a lot of times we can't orgasm because we're not current, we're not present in the exchange. We're thinking about the invisible labor of our lives. Did we make the grocery list? Did we do, the kids got to do, did I iron the clothes for tomorrow? Did I do, all of that stuff? So you're not present in the moment.
Yeah.
Being, identifying the ways that your senses are delighted in the sexual space keeps you grounded in the space. It adds layers to your pleasure. Yeah. So it's not just a kiss. You're thinking of the softness of your partner's lips and how you're exchanging the same breath, which is way more intimate than, your genital sex, right? So it just gives you layers to your pleasure. And then it makes you more receptive to the more than 18 different kinds of orgasms that the human body has to offer.
Listen.
Because most of the time we think of orgasm, we just think about the genital ones.
Yeah.
When I think about all the other ways that your body can reach orgasm. And so getting to explore that with your partner, it just, again, adds layers to the pleasure, adds layers to the connection. It builds intimacy, because intimacy is what happens when you're not having sex. Intimacy is the culture of your relationship. It's how you talk to each other when you're upset. It is, what I'm saying? It's all of the things. And so I think it just, again, it's a layered experience. And I think most of us experience the world in maybe 1 or 2 layers.
Yeah. Yeah. I love how, when I'm thinking about God and, orgasms and sexuality and all these different things, that he was so unique in the way that he did the experience. Orgasms are a part of a spiritual experience, right? Yes. And it's one of the mysteries of God. He talks about it in scripture as it being one of the mysteries. And I always try to tell the church community, like, don't be afraid to embrace that. And so I get sad when I hear people tell me that they're not experiencing it, they have never experienced it. Like, that is crazy to me. So let's
sometimes, but sometimes we're having sex out of obligation. Sometimes, and that's not a bad thing necessarily. Sometimes people do it because maybe they have a responsive desire and their partner has spontaneous desire. Yeah. So their partner is initiating and they're responding to the initiation. Yeah. Right. And so it's out of obligation because they started it. They came over here, so I'm gonna go ahead and do, but it's like once you start to enjoy it. It's like, but it wasn't your idea, kind of thing.
Yeah, put in work to enjoy it.
Right. Right. Or especially if you're super shrouded in your wifely duties.
Yeah.
It feels like a chore. So you don't even connect it to the joy of what God intended it to be. And also like you said, orgasm is a spiritual experience. People that manifest things, right? Like they at the point of orgasm, they're whispering to God their most, their worldly desires or their spiritual desires for their life or their family or for whomever. Because you're that close to God, why not tell him what you want? He's on the main line at that point, right? But if people contextualize orgasm as close as you can get to God without dying, maybe they would intentionally try to get there.
Yeah, we are still having these technical difficulties, but anyways, we were talking about spirituality and God and sex being oneness. Well, sex is a form of oneness, right? So when we're thinking about it in the Christian community, we're thinking about, sex is an opportunity to become one with God. That is to understand him on different levels, because he uses sex to mimic, he uses intimacy to mimic the relationship that we should have with him. And so he allows those sexual intimate experiences to allow us to go deeper and to learn things about each other that you can't really find in any other type of relationship. And that relationship is it's like one that mimics the relationship that we should have with him and the relationship that he has with the church. So it's kind of like it is a spiritual experience, and there are so many levels to it. It's so deep. Like we could be here all day talking about because it's so good, right?
Yeah, it's very much layered. And I think when you, like I said, if people conceptualized sexual pleasure as a way to like become one with God in the covenant with their spouse, then I think they would embrace it differently, make more time for it, make it more intentional, and seek ye first the kingdom of orgasm.
Right. Yeah.
But, I think it would be something that maybe even there would be a ministry that centers that, not necessarily sexual connection only, but the intimate parts of relationship, the intimate parts of marriage, the sexual and non-sexual things. So like I said, intimacy is is what happens when you're not having sex.
Yeah.
It is the culture of your relationship. It is the way you talk to each other when you're upset. It is the way you communicate when you're happy. It is the way you have discussions, move through the world.
Yeah.
So all of that, exploring all of that, is still about your maintaining that covenant with your spouse.
Exactly. And I want to understand a little bit, for the community, like embracing all of that, right? Like women are, like you said, like we're busy. We got a lot of things going on. So we don't really know how to tap into that, especially when we feel like it's a chore. So what are ways that you would suggest that we can get into that mindset so that we're not thinking about it like a chore, so that we're able to be able to embrace our spouses?
I think first of all, reframing again, separating pleasure from sex, and understanding what sensuality looks like for you, and start to move through the world as a sensual being first. That mindset work, because the body ain't going. You have to get the mind first, and the body will follow, right? Yeah. So get that sensual piece together first, and encourage your partner to do the same, because it's just like going to therapy. If you're the only one doing the work, you know what I'm saying? You and your partner need to be connected to your sensual selves. Yeah. And I think the easiest way to do that is to think about doing things that connect you to your sensual, non-sexual self. And so I encourage people to take shadow showers. And a shadow shower is when you go into your bathroom, you're taking a shower, no lights, no music, no candles, just you and the shower in the dark, and your eyes will adjust, right? So that's sight. Then sound, the acoustics in the bathroom, everybody get a record deal in the bathroom, so you can hear everything, right? But it's just your breathing and the water. So it's very cathartic, it's very cleansing, right? So that's sight, sound, and taste. I like to speak my day into the water, like the joyful parts of my day, the not so joyful parts of my day. And it just kind of runs down and out into the drain, right? And so it's like a reset. So that's the taste of it, right? So sight, sound, taste, touch. You are nude. Most of us only get naked to have sex or to take showers and clean our bodies. It's very utility, right? Yeah. But now you are in a space where you have to touch your skin differently to figure out, is there still soap there? Should I exfoliate? Do I need to shave? Like, it's a very nurturing, restorative way that you're touching your naked body, not in a sexual way, not in a just to get dressed way. It is a completely different energy that you're using to sort of explore your own body in a way that is nurturing and non-sexual. And then scent is whatever you're using to wash your body with. Soap, body wash, any of that stuff. You can smell all of those things. Touch, again, what you're using to wash your body too, the body puff or an exfoliating glove or a washcloth or, anything like that. And then that feel, once you step out of the shower, it's just sort of this really cathartic, meditative, cleansed reset.
Yeah.
And so if and it's not something that you have to add to your life, right? When we think about self-care or getting refocused or taking care of ourselves, it's, I got to get a massage, I got to get a mani-pedi, I got to get my hair done. None of that is free.
Yeah.
One more thing for you to do.
Yeah.
Right? You got to wash your butt anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to get in the shower at some point in the next 3 to 5 business days. You're going to have to get in the shower, right? And so it makes it easy and accessible. And that is for everyone, for the wives and for the husbands.
Yeah.
Because again, y'all have to be doing this work together. It's not going to work if it's only you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. And you feel so good after it. That's
you do. And then your moisturizing practices too, right? That's the same thing. You're moisturizing, and then when you get in the bed fresh and clean and some new clean sheets, like that's foreplay if nothing else ain't foreplay.
It is
great. It's a great feeling. So just sort of connecting to the small pleasures in life that sort of lead up to the way that you connect to larger pleasure. But I really think it is the little things.
It is the little things. And I try to teach that to people too, because, when people, they come to me and they're like, well, how can I make my sex life better? And then I tell them things that it's outside of sex. They're like, but what? It sounds counterintuitive, But
but you can't. The first thing I ask people is, what is the division of labor in the home?
Yeah.
Because if you're doing everything, and they're not doing nothing, then you got to work inside the home, outside the home, and not look like a potato. You know what I'm saying? You gotta and you want to have sex too. Like, you gotta pick one. You got 3 spots. One of them spots is not gonna be taken.
That's true. That's all facts. Because I have a helpful husband. So, with kids, with small kids.
Have you joined the waitlist for my brand new book, Hey God, Can I? This is your go-to ABC guide for married saints. Bring your questions about God, sex, and intimacy. This isn't just a book. It's a resource to help you grow spiritually while strengthening your marriage bed. So if you've ever wondered what God really says about sex and intimacy, this book is for YOU. Tap the link, sign up for the waitlist, and be the first to know when it drops. Don't wait, sis. Get on the list today.
Yeah, bless your heart.
He's helpful.
Yes.
So, like, when we're together, he does a lot. Like, I rely on him. So when
he should though. He's a parent. That's the thing. When you think about a mother and a father and a husband and a wife, versus a parent and a partner.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people, when my husband takes my daughter out and they go, they're out doing stuff. Like, oh, he's such a good dad. Oh, even if she's wilding, he's such a good dad. When I take her, I'm supposed to take her.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, where's my applause?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't get that.
Right.
As female parents, we're expected to do. I remember when I was out of town and my daughter got sick, and my husband had to take off work to go get her, and his boss was like, "Where's her mom?"
What?
Right? Who does that? Nobody asked me when we take off work.
Yeah.
Because our kid is sick. Nobody's like, "Where's their dad?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's not the expectation.
It's not.
Right? That's not the gender role.
Yeah.
And so even with that, like, you're supposed to have a helpful partner. You know what I'm saying? I feel sorry for people. I have friends that when we go out of town, they got to get babysitters for their kids, even though their husband at home.
Oh yeah, that's sad.
Like, my daughter, the youngest one is 7. The other ones are big kids. They feed themselves. They're 26, 24, and 19. But we have a 7-year-old. She might have chocolate cake for breakfast when I'm out of town, but she had breakfast.
Yep.
And she has energy for the day.
I tell her all the time.
Our carbs and sugar. She got energy for the day. I don't care. I know when I come home, she'll have all 10 fingers, all 10 toes.
Exactly.
She'll have lots of great stories to tell me about.
I love that. I love that. I love that you said that, because what does that do to your intimate life when it's like that?
Correct. You feel
Yeah.
the sexiest thing he can do is get up, let me sleep in, and take her to school. So I can sleep in. He irons her uniforms for the week. Like, that's the kind of stuff.
That's like foreplay.
It is, because that's one less thing for me to do. And it's not even that. He's not helping me with that. Those are that's what he does in the house.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do bath time because he doesn't do hair. So, and she don't want me to give her a bath no way, because when daddy gives her a bath, she there's a playlist. She get all her toys. Daddy let her have tea parties in the tub. She's swimming in her little mermaid tail in the tub and stuff like that. When mommy give her a bath, it's get and wash, get out.
Yeah.
But she don't even want me doing it. And she's 7, so she does it herself. But he just kind of supervises and sets the scene for her, right? But he don't do hair. He's not making ponytails. He's not brushing up he ain't doing no baby hairs.
Yeah.
And so since he doesn't participate in the hair, I don't participate in the bath. That's just like the division of labor that we agreed on. So it's not even that he's helping me around the house. So don't even say that they're helping you.
Yeah.
They doing what they're supposed to do with their house too.
Yeah.
It's their kids too.
Yeah.
You're not helping him raise the kids. You know what I'm saying? So how he helping you? Like, that's only your job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it does a lot for you when certain things are no longer on your plate. Then it frees you up to be able to focus on other things.
Yeah. And focus on foreplay. So let's talk a little bit about that real quick. Okay. Because a lot of people are not even having that. And for women, we need it.
No, men need it too. Because even with the arousal cycle, the penis erection needs time to fill with blood as well. So a lot of times when men are having sex and they have, premature ejaculation, or the stamina isn't what they want it to be, or whatever the case may be, it's because they didn't spend enough time in the foreplay stage to fortify their erection before they started having sex.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they need it just as much as we do. And I think a lot of times people foreplay, they contextualize foreplay in the sense of women. Like, that's what they need. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it becomes a chore for them. It's not some shit they want to participate in.
Yeah.
And so when you reframe it as everyone needs it, and see how much more enjoyable the sex is when we have it, then it looks a little different for how it gets executed.
Yeah. I love that. So let's talk a little bit about it. Like, what are things that we can do for foreplay?
I think foreplay starts, I call it before play. It starts when you wake up in the morning, right? It's, again, how you speak to each other, how you communicate throughout the day. Are you physically affectionate toward each other in non-sexual ways? Do you hug? Do you kiss? Do you hold hands? Do you, share space together? Things like that. Then when it comes to actual, like, touch and stuff like that, are you mindful of how firmly you're gripping your person? And that's everybody, right? How you're touching them. Are you touching them in ways that feel good to them? Everybody's foreplay looks different. Some people don't like their ears all, slobbered in, and you only stick your tongue in my ear to, you know what I'm saying? Some people like that. Some people don't. So you have to kind of touch base and kind of check in and see what your partner enjoys before, that ain't gonna be what worked on I was at, we're church. We're talking about church people, but in real life, what worked on the last one ain't gonna work on the one you got. I don't care what you say about it. Everybody didn't wait till marriage, and so
because I didn't.
You know what I'm saying? So so just thinking about, like, what feels good to you, but also what feels good to your partner, and checking in, because everybody's foreplay looks different. Some people like to be, squoze, like they like to feel that tightness and that restriction. Some people like pressure. Some people like, kissing on the neck and the shoulders and all. Like, it just really, really depends. Some people like all of those things. You know what I'm saying? So it just really, really depends. And so you have to check in and see what you like, and then maybe even explore some stuff. Like, get the little dice game.
Oh yeah.
That kind of stuff. Just kind of see what you like. Sometimes you don't know. And a lot of times, because we don't know what our own pleasure scripts are, we don't know how to communicate what we like to our partners.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so people think that self-pleasure is, something that doesn't exist in a healthy relationship, or I got a partner, so I don't need to masturbate, or I don't need to participate in self-pleasure. But in real life, if you don't know what feels good to you, how can you communicate that to someone else?
Right.
and your orgasm is your responsibility. So if you
Yeah.
can't reach it yourself, how can you teach somebody else how to reach it?
Absolutely. I love to say that to my people. I'm
Mhm.
like, your orgasm is your responsibility. You have to be able to communicate to your spouse
Yeah.
what feels good to you. And you have to
And
learn.
that changes. To
Yeah.
be clear, what 15-year-old you liked, and what 25-year-old you liked, and what 35-year-old you liked, and what 45-year-old you like. You know what I'm saying? 4-year-old Goody would not touch a Brussels sprout with somebody else's fork. 43-year-old Goody eat Brussels sprouts a couple times a week.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Just like your taste for food changes, your taste for pleasure changes, your clothing styles change, your hair, like all of the things about you and the things that you enjoy and don't enjoy shift as you mature. And so you have to then recheck you. People think, oh, I like this thing, so I'm always gonna like this thing. Nah, sometimes that's like, oh, I used to like that, but I don't like that now. You know, and so you really do have to like kind of stay present and be always kind of curious about what pleasure can look like for you, and don't box yourself in.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Let's talk a little bit about like size, and does that matter?
We talking about penis size?
Yes.
Okay.
Penis size, body size. Let's get it.
Yeah, like penis size, body size. So body size matters more than penis size. And not in the sense that the ways your bodies can fit together changes depending on the sizes of your bodies. It doesn't mean you can't, because again, I teach strokeology and rideology, which I show people how their bodies can fit together regardless of their size. But as far as penis size goes, size matters, but not in the way you think. So length does not matter as much as girth does. So the thickness of the penis, the erection quality of the penis, the firmness, right? Those things matter. You know, sometimes it's a pickle, sometimes it's a brick, right? Those things matter. But as far as like the length of the penis, that's not really it. And even with all of that being said, you can still have pleasurable sex regardless of the equipment that your partner has, because not only are there, of course, you know, sex toys and pleasure tools that can help, you know, there are cock rings and, you know, all kind of cages and sleeves and things like that, but also positions. Like, you ain't got to buy nothing. Just changing up the position that you're in can increase your sensitivity and increase the pleasure you experience. And so a lot of times we just want to have sex in two positions, you know, doggy style and missionary. We're having sex in two positions. We're having sex at night, and we're having sex in the bed.
Yeah.
Shifting the time of day you have sex, where you have sex, and the positions you're in can change the way you experience pleasure with your partner. How much clitoral stimulation are you getting? Adding a little sex toy, like a little finger bullet or something. It doesn't have to be like a massive penis-shaped dildo or like a huge wand or something. It can be like a little finger vibe.
Yeah.
You know, that you just add to how y'all spend time together. Easy, right? And it could still connect. You can still connect to pleasure, especially like when you are excited about your partner. That thing be thangin' regardless to you. Like, have you ever been so in love with somebody and the sex was great, and then y'all break up, and then maybe y'all have sex again after y'all done broke up, and you're like, this really wasn't this ain't how I remember. You know what I'm saying? You know, because you like them, you know, you was feeling them at the time. You was feeling them at the time, you was with it, you know, but then you start to spin the block and you're like, wait a minute. You know? So that also matters. I think the size of your affection for your partner matters just as much as the size of whatever genitals they got going on. I want to say this too, because we talk about how women, especially women in church, don't know what their own bodies look like and all this. If you can't pick your vulva out of a lineup, you know what I'm saying? You should probably keep it to yourself until you can. Yeah. But I will say that just like penises come in different sizes, so do vaginas. And so it's not, oh, they're loose or, oh, they're too tight. All of that, it's just a different size vagina. So if you feel like, if your partner says like you're loose or something like that, it's just your vagina is bigger than their penis, and that's just what that is. Also, if vaginas can be too tight, right? The vaginal canal can be too tight. We think that that's a sign of goodness, right? Oftentimes, if a super tight vagina is a form of pelvic floor dysfunction. It's not the gold star on your chest that you think it is. And so you should probably talk to a pelvic floor therapist to make sure if that's normal for your body, or if you do need to like work on relaxing your hips, because that can also impact the pleasure that you experience. And it may not have anything to do with your partner. It may be all
Yeah.
you.
This is not supposed to be painful.
It's not supposed to be painful. You have to drink your water. Everybody on the planet, you need to make sure you're hydrated. You know what I'm saying? Because arousal is blood flow. And when you're properly hydrated, your blood moves through your body more freely. So you have the clitoral erections, the penile erections, the vaginal wetness, that comes from being hydrated. So all you drink is Starbucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't think that you're going to be able to get wetter, or that you're going to be able to squirt or any of that. You can't squirt Starbucks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have to drink water. It helps with erection quality, clitoral and penile erection quality. It helps with stamina. It helps with orgasm strength. It helps with all of those things. And so just understanding your body and how it works and what it's capable of.
Yeah.
Can influence the way. Yes, it can absolutely influence the way you experience pleasure.
That's it right there. What about since we're talking about, you know, blood flow and all that, and being properly hydrated, oral sex. Let's talk a little bit about that, because that is another thing that's taboo in the church.
Oh, you know what? It's not. It's taboo while you upright with your clothes on. Because so many people in the church, we say we don't do things that we're absolutely do. We don't talk about it, because there's a level of decorum and respectability that's necessary, which I understand. And everything for everybody, and you don't have to talk your sheets in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Right. But oral sex is, I think it's a unique exchange of intimacy between people, because you're in a very vulnerable position, literally. Right? You have someone's genitals in your mouth. But that ain't vulnerable. I don't know what is. And it is kind of taboo to, like, it is like, even in the church, like, we're talking about sex. They may talk about, you know, sex. They're just talking about specifically genital sex. We're not talking about, you know, putting your mouth on nothing. You know, some of none of that. The most we can do is get to we talking about the fact that married people have sex. Okay, we can go there, right? So, and just like we were talking about earlier about sexual skill instruction, there's this magical download that happens when you get married, when you're just supposed to know these things.
Yeah.
And so that's not the case. I mean, I teach oral sex on a penis workshops, and I teach oral sex on bubble workshops, because just because you're doing it, or just because you have those genitals, doesn't mean you know what you're doing. Doesn't mean it feels good. It doesn't. Maybe there are ways to make it feel good to you too. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't put value in sexual act education.
Yeah. I agree with that. I think there's a shame attached to it.
Oh yeah. And people think, because, you know, like the spilling of the seed, right? They talk about the spilling of the seed in the Bible. That wasn't even what that was about.
Yeah, that's not what it's about.
That was not what that story was about. That story was about he broke the covenant to give his brother's widow an heir. And he was having sex with her for pleasure, and pulled out and spilled the seed on the ground instead of giving her an heir. That was the covenant, right? That was the issue, not the whole, you know, masturbation, or because people want to use that specific passage to, you know, disparage oral sex, to disparage masturbation, and that wasn't even what the story was about.
Yeah, there's scriptures with oral sex in it, in Songs of Solomon.
Absolutely. So he was in there.
Yeah, there's scriptures with that. So, like,
he might be talking about gardens and flowers and things, but y'all know what it means. Y'all done heard R&B before. You know what a metaphor is.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. So I just want people to be comfortable with embracing their spouses differently, right? Because it's this mentality that we have when you are raised in a particular environment, or I think, you know, it's the mindset around sex that limits people from doing the things. Like we were talking about sex toys earlier. A lot of people in the faith-based communities, they won't even do that. Now, I sell products to church-based, right? So like a lot of my clients are like pastors, ministers, and, you know, we do these things on the DL, like it's on the down low, right? Yeah. But they're buying things. But it's things that's not going to be intimidating to their spouse.
Yeah. Especially in heterosexual couples, right? Like, Men are challenged by a lot of things, and society has made masculinity even more fragile. And so if you are trying to bring sex toys or pleasure tools into your bedroom, it needs to be something that is smaller than your partner's penis. It's best if it's not.
Hey friends, quick pause in this lesson because I need to put you onto something that has been blessing so many households. This episode has been sponsored by Covenant Eyes, the accountability app that helps you protect your eyes, your mind, and your marriage. If you're serious about keeping your digital life pure, guarded, and God-honoring, Covenant Eyes is a game changer. It helps you to stay accountable online and creates a safe space for your heart and your home. And listen, because you are a part of the Marriage Lab, you get 30 days free when you use my code MARRIAGELAB. So go ahead, take that step, cover your devices, and cover your covenant.
Dick shaped.
Yeah.
And if it's pink or purple, that'd be great. Because like it doesn't feel like a competitor, then it feels like a teammate. Right. And so that is where you sort of layer that in. Like I do toy parties for marriage ministry all the time because the marriage bed is undefiled, right? And it ends up being like a couples night or something. And I do the toys that I show the demo. Luckily, sex toys do not have an orientation or a gender. So I will show a sex toy and I show all the different ways you can use it. And if they're like, oh, I didn't even think about that. You sure can do that, can't you? You sure can. I didn't know. Let me back. I was doing one and I held up this toy and I was talking about it. And the guy got up and I was like, I'm sold out. This is a demo. Blah, blah, blah. He got up and took it out of my hand. He was like, it hasn't been used on a person, right? Like he was like, this was mine. Yeah.
He buy it right there. Didn't even care.
He didn't care. He was like, it's demo. It was on your table. You only person to touch it is you with your hands. We're gonna wash it. It's gonna be okay. Because he wanted it that night. You know what I'm saying? Because I talk about the different ways you can use them. A lot of times when people sell pleasure tools, they talk about maybe the marketed use for it. Or people buy things just because they want to buy something and have no idea how to use it and get it home and it just collects dust, or they're using it incorrectly, or they're using it without lubricant.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing.
Because I'm Miss Aquafina Whoppity Wop 2023. I don't need no lubricant.
I don't need
lubricant. What I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not it. You ain't had water since last week.
Yeah.
Like you can't. I don't care what's going on. That thing get different with the ceiling fan on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your body's natural moisture is designed to evaporate.
Yeah.
Lubricant gives you a smoother ride and reduces friction between you and whoever or whatever you're having sex with.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah.
Because it adds to your comfort.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which influences how you connect to pleasure.
Yeah.
It helps make it feel good.
See, it all goes back to pleasure.
It does.
Go back to it.
It does. And we think we don't need it, or we don't, I know what I'm doing, especially with as sexuality professionals, right? People think that if they enjoy sex, they know that they can do our job. And that's like going into a Michelin star restaurant thinking because you eat that food, you can make that food. Yeah. It's ridiculous. You lack the training, right? You lack the training. So listen to us. Yeah. Listen to us. Especially if you ask us, we didn't come to you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You asking us questions and then you looking at us like, I don't need that. You just asked me, this is my answer. Take the lubricant. Take it. I'm not saying you got to do like all of this. You ain't got to, smother it on there. You know what I'm saying? A little dime-sized amount. That's it. Just a little bit. And you have to use the right lube for the right job, right? So if you're using a jelly lubricant, jelly lubricants are more for like anal sex, not necessarily vaginal sex. Using a silicone lube is more for like sex in the shower or masturbation, as opposed to in penis and vagina sex. Water-based lubricant is usually best for penis and vagina sex. Like it just depends on what kind of sex you're having, where you're having it. All of these things matter, but people so hung up on I don't need that. Yeah. That they don't even realize how much more pleasurable they could be, especially the people that say they're not getting the orgasm, they're not having orgasms. Yeah. How you gonna tell me what you don't need and you the one not having orgasms? Yeah. I'm having orgasms. I'm good. You came to me talking you ain't had an orgasm, and you gonna tell me what you don't. Right. All facts. All facts. So I think that just expanding it, when you really lean heavy, especially in churches, when you lean heavy into the marriage bed is undefiled, all that other stuff go out the window.
Yeah.
all the objections, all the things they got to say. Oh,
Yes.
the marriage bed is undefiled. So
Yeah.
what are we talking about?
That's why
Yeah.
I'm excited for my book to come out.
Yes.
Hey, God, can I?
Yes, that's gonna be dope.
ABTs of undefiled.
I'm excited for that
I
because that's
got
gonna
it
be
all
amazing.
in there. I got it all in there. You know, I'm excited about it. We could be here all night talking about but unfortunately we don't have all night.
Right,
You know,
you're right.
like I loved the conversation. I love the interaction. I loved you being here educating the people on, you know, sexuality, sensuality, all the good things.
Yes.
So as we wrap up, and
Mhm.
we weren't always as sexual and sensual and all of these different things, right? Like it happened over time for me it did. So
Mhm.
what would you say to your younger self about, you know, being able to embrace sexuality?
Mm. I would tell my younger self that pleasure and sex are not the same thing,
Mhm.
and to focus on exploring pleasure.
Yeah,
I definitely would say that to myself.
yeah. I love that. I love that. Is there anything else that you want to share with the audience before we wrap out?
Um, just hopefully there's something in this conversation that y'all can take away that applied to you that you heard and you heard it with your chest. You know what I'm saying? You feel convicted that
Mhm.
you, okay, maybe they're talking to me. Hopefully there's something in this conversation that helps you connect to pleasure with topics.
Yes. I love that. I love you. I love that. So again, thank you for
Of
tuning
course.
in. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you. I think I'm gonna be contacting you again because I want to talk to you about some other stuff.
Okay, I'm with it. I'm with it.
Yeah, I do want to talk to you some other stuff, but I am glad that you came and you know, shared your knowledge you know, about this topic because, you know, when it comes to, you know, the church and sexuality, it's one of those where the sheep, the shepherd, they tend to their sheep, right?
Mhm.
They're very protective of them. And, you know, they need a resource. I was having a conversation with a group of women and they were like, we don't even know where to go to find out these different things.
Mhm.
And so I was like, there are resources out there, but they don't feel like they have them available to them.
Yeah.
So I wanted you to talk a little bit about, you know, what it is that you offer before we go, because I know you mentioned that you have the rideology courses,
Oh
or
yeah.
class, and then like you have different things. So talk about those a little bit for the community.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, social media is a hell of a drug, right? Like you have to search for us,
Mhm.
sex educators, sexologists, things like that. There are, especially Black and brown women. There are lots of us doing this work, but the way
Mhm.
our content hits the algorithm, you're never going to see it unless you search for it.
Yeah.
I've been booked by Meta twice to train their employees, and I still can't run ads on their platforms.
Wow.
So, I mean, that's how it goes. That's how deep it goes. But I offer lots of skill building workshops. Sensual intelligence is one of them because it's like a mindset shift that you have to make before you can even connect to pleasure. And then I teach actual sexual skill building classes. Like I teach rideology, which is a partner on top. Like there's a dick riding class, basically.
Mhm.
Um, I teach strokeology, which is for people with penises and people that wear strap-ons to help them with their stroke game and all of that as well. I
Mhm.
teach lick, which is oral sex on a penis. I teach lip service, which is oral sex on a vulva. I teach the big O, which is where we discuss 18 different kinds of orgasm and how to access them with and without a partner.
Mhm.
There are more than 18 different kinds of orgasms, but those are the ones that I can confidently tell you how to connect to.
Mhm.
Um, and
That's a
then
lot.
yeah, and then I have like you can do like Q&As with me. You can book me for like a one-on-one session if you have deeper questions. I always suggest that people buy a replay on the website first, and then if they still have questions, to book a one-on-one because I really try to want people to be mindful of their resources. You can book me for private events for your friend groups and things like that. Like I do a lot of like Q&A sessions for people and their friends.
Mhm.
So the Ask a Sexologist is a huge, like, people just want to get in the room and be able to ask questions. And
Mhm.
you can submit questions anonymously ahead of time, or you can be bold and ask questions. Sometimes you've got questions, but you don't want your friends in your business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So those are the most popular things that I do. I also like come into community groups, go to college campuses, work in companies to help people kind of understand sex, gender, orientation, attraction, pleasure, all of those different things. And so any of those things, you can go to askgoody.com, ASKGOODY.com, and look and see what I have to offer, how I'm able to be booked. I do panel discussions, I host events, I do speaking engagements, keynote speeches, all the things. And I've asked Goody on all social media platforms. So ASKGOODY. Everywhere likes can be clicked. Okay. So yeah, that's it. Like, again, there are people out here. There are two of them right in front of you right now. Right? There are people out here, specifically Black and brown women, that are doing this work. There are a few Black men doing this work and they're talking to other men. So there's that, right? And so I just think it helps when you find the resources, when you find the professionals that are doing this work, trust them, find someone that you trust to bring into whatever challenges you're having, so they can help you build a bridge to get over what you're struggling with, because it may be a very unique and just heavy burden for you. But because we do this, we can go, oh, it's just this, and this, and you need to try this, and this, and then come back and we'll talk about it, because this is what we do for a living. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your hair is breaking off, you go to a stylist and they go, oh, it's just this, and this. You just need to do this, and this.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what they do. They do hair. That's their thing. So just trusting professionals is one thing. But Google us, sex educators, Black sex educators. Sexologist is another term that we use. There's really no such thing as a sexpert. So if you Google a sexpert, you're really rolling the dice. They may not necessarily have any training. But yeah, sex educator and sexologist are going to be the terms that you would use. Sexologist in my area, Black sexologist near me, things like that will definitely be how you can find us.
Do you know that there are, well, technically there's only one registered sexologist in the Bahamas? One. Really? Yes. And she doesn't live there. I don't think she lives there anymore. So she does business outside. She'll come to the Bahamas, or I don't know if she goes back and forth. But yeah, only one registered. Wow. Yeah. Oh, girl, my ear's falling off. But that's fine. Wow. Yeah, only one, which is crazy. So
I mean, because there's not a lot of us, and we get pushback, and people make assumptions about what we do and how we show up, and all of these other things. So we have a lot to deal with before we can even get to a chance to do our work.
There's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot, and I would love to see myself being one of those in the near future. So that's why I'm going to school for it right now. But I want to see me register.
Absolutely
For representation.
Yeah, they say, somebody got to do something. I'm somebody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Me is always an option.
Yeah. So, but we'll see. But again. Thank you again for coming here. So if you have enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share. If you have listened on Apple Podcasts, please don't be scared. Leave a review. I love your reviews. More than money. Leave me a review. All right. So thank you again for tuning in. Until next time. Bye.